Okay. Part 2. Oh my god. Fucking miss Rachel, dude.
God bless her. She means well.
uh, yeah. God dang, I started choking on air. It's not her fault. My daughter likes to listen to her loudly. Um, God, I keep choking on air. Hold on, I'm gonna take a drink real quick.
So we're going to start with September 27th, 1969, right? Brian and Cecilia.
Yes. I would also like to add, from Darlene and Mike's case,
Mm-hmm.
Darlene's sister was at the parking lot before the murder,
Yeah.
and I can't remember what sister it is. Hold on, cause she's got a whole bunch of siblings.
I remember reading it, but I can't remember what her exact name was. But I remember reading somewhere that her sister happened to be in the same area. Or no, not her
Cause she
sister. It was one
has
of the other. Wait a minute. I'm mixing it up.
it was her sister. Hold on. Former Bay Area woman recalls her sister murdered. Yeah, okay. Pam. It
Okay.
was her sister Pam, because she has a whole bunch of siblings. I think she has like two brothers or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was her sister Pam. Um, her sister Pam, I think she was the only one who got a call from the Zodiac killer every year
Okay.
for
Yeah, that's right.
35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cuz the sister she took to that firecracker um girl pageant thing
Yeah.
was a different sister.
And if you
It
notice,
wasn't Pam.
Cecilia was older than Brian. The women seem to be a little bit older than
Yeah. The only case that wasn't true was oh my god, I'm so bad at names. Was Betty and David.
yeah.
David was older by like a couple months, I think. So, not by much, but he was.
Gotcha.
Okay. Let's let's get started on Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Ann Shepard. Cecilia Ann Shepard, 22, and Brian Hartnell, 20, were friends from college. They attended Pacific Union College after spending the summer with her parents in Loma Linda. Cecilia had come back to PUC for the weekend to pack the rest of her belongings for shipment to Southern California. She was transferring to UC at Riverside in October to study music. Which is so sad, because, like, if this asshole just left them alone,
Yeah, they could have been very successful.
yeah. Like, I don't know what Cecilia would have, you know,
Became. Uh-huh.
ended up doing. But yeah. Anyways, Brian had also come back from visiting his parents to help Cecilia pack. Which, good on you, Brian.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Sweet.
Very nice of you. I heard something that said they dated, they used to date, and then they broke up, and then I think this was them like kind of like rekindling it, I guess.
Okay. Oh.
I I don't know. I read something like that. It could be wrong. I really don't know. Brian asked Cecilia if she was free to hang out later in the afternoon, and we all know what her answer was.
Yes, we do.
The hangout. Um the couple then drove around and ran some errands together before stopping to hang out with a few friends. They drove a couple of their friends home, and Brian suggested that they go to Berryessa Lake, By the way, he had planned to take her. He'd planned to take her somewhere else. He didn't plan to take her to. He didn't plan to take her to Berryessa Lake. That was just they just swapped
It was random. Okay.
right after. Yeah. Which if they just went with their original plan, dude.
I know.
If they just went with their original plan.
Would have turned out completely different.
My God. Completely different. Oh, wow.
It's funny how life, you know.
Lake Berryessa is a man-made lake and is over 25 miles long and 3 miles wide. Also, there's a little area. I think it was the area where Brian and Cecilia were during like certain times in the year. That's no longer land. The water takes it over.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It might not have been where they were, but
Just when the tide gets high.
I think where they were sitting was, just a fun little fact.
Little fun fact.
Little fun fact. At around 2:50 p.m., 3 21-year-old women had come the same route as Brian and Cecilia. When they parked, a man pulled up beside them with his front bumper lining up with their back bumper. Also, this was at like a nearby gas station. This wasn't at Berryessa Lake just yet.
Okay.
I just forgot to write that down. He then followed them to Berryessa Lake.
Oh, okay.
And then that's when they went to the beach. They sunbathed for about like an hour and then realized he was watching them.
Yeah, creeper.
And then he left like 20 minutes later. At 4, Brian parked his 56 black vinyl topped Ghia off the edge of the road near the lake. There were no other cars around them, and they were in a very secluded area. So, not the best idea.
Apparently not.
When there's a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah. Exactly.
The couple walked a quarter mile down to where 2 large oak trees sat. The couple found a clearing to set up their picnic exactly 510 yards from the road on a peninsula, oh my God, of the lake's west shoreline. Oh my God. I can't talk tonight. What the hell is happening to me? They laid down the blanket and enjoyed each other's company for about an hour before the shit went down.
Yeah.
Before the crazy shit went down. A man and his young son had earlier parked their car and walked down to the beach. The man and his son shortly noticed a man watching them. When the strange man noticed that he was spotted, he turned and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the son had like a hunting rifle, which it never says how old this kid is, so hopefully he's not like 7.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if he was
his
dad.
Hopefully if he is, good on you for teaching your kid gun safety early on.
Yeah.
But like, it's always a good idea, especially if you have guns in the house, instead of like hiding it from them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Teach them gun safety, because if they find that shit, if they find that shit and start playing with it like it's a fucking toy,
yeah, they're not going to realize
because you didn't teach them gun safety. Yeah,
no, it's definitely important, and definitely keep your guns locked up so your kids don't have access.
Oh
to
yeah,
them.
yep. Anyways, I got a little off topic there.
Sorry.
They noticed a man watching them. The stray man, walked away, blah, 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 blah. All that snazzy shit. The strange man got in his car and drove off around until he spotted Brian's car and parked behind it. Mm-hmm. Now, it says he just parked behind it. I don't know if he did that same front bumper to back bumper thing.
Probably.
I don't really know. But Cecilia noticed the man early on, and at first she was like, okay, whatever, it's
Just
not that big of other people are here. It's not that big of a
yeah, people are going to come out here because it's beautiful.
deal. And then he vanished behind the trees.
That's where it gets a little shady. Like, where are you
And
going?
then he popped out
Yeah.
closer to where they were. And then that's when she started getting alarmed. She was like,
the gig is up, bro.
Bri-
Like, this isn't normal. You're obviously not just
Brian,
looking at the lake.
There's some strange man coming at us. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Brian seemed pretty unbothered by the strange man, but Cecilia was still pretty nervous about it. She didn't like it. She didn't like it at all.
No, I don't blame her. Because when he popped
And then
out,
the man disappeared again.
yeah.
And then he did it again.
Uh-huh. And even weirder. Like, he popped out from behind a tree
Yeah.
with, like, black executioner hood with clip-on sunglasses.
Well,
and he had...
After he popped out from, like, the first 2 times he did it, I don't think he was dressed in that gear yet.
No, he wasn't. No, it was like the
Yeah.
last time he did it.
Yeah, the last time he
That's
popped
when I draw
out,
the
he was dressed
straw
up in
when
that
you
shit.
got a whole different wardrobe change. I mean, the first 2
Yeah.
pop-outs were probably a little creepy, but now you did a wardrobe change?
But,
no,
like,
this isn't good.
yeah. Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
The man had been wearing a ceremonial black hood, square on top, which is, like, weird. Did you just put a paper bag over your head and paint it? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's very weird what he had on. I'm sure that that's not what they expected on his third pop-out.
Yeah. Weren't, like, the sleeves cut off and he had, like, long sleeves underneath or something like that?
My notes don't say that, but they said he wore a bib, a white bib with like a 3x3 symbol and then a symbol on it, and he brandished a gun. I was like,
bib?
That's what it says.
A fucking
Yeah,
bib. Oh my god, that's so funny.
it had like the same symbol, the cross symbol that was on the last car when he did that.
Yeah. The man carried a blue steel semi-automatic pistol, and the man decided that he was going to, quote-unquote, rob them.
Yeah. He was going through some things.
Started telling Brian and Cecilia that he was going to rob them and all that stuff, and asking for their pretty pennies and their pretty pockets.
Yeah, saying he just escaped from jail after killing a guard, and
yeah,
he needed their car and their money to go to
um,
Mexico, I guess.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Mm-hmm.
He did say he was gonna flee to Mexico. Brian gave the man all the change he had on him and his keys. The man threw the keys on the blanket.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a clear
indication he didn't need it.
Yeah, thank you. I keep freaking yawning. Oh my god.
It's been a long day. It's fine. I'm tired too.
It has been. Yeah, the man told the couple that he was an escaped convict from Deer Lodge, Montana. He stated he killed a prison guard there and had nothing to lose. And that he needed Brian's car to flee to Mexico, which you just threw the keys on the ground.
Yeah.
So you got what you needed.
But that wasn't actually what you wanted.
But you're not doing nothing with it, so I'm gonna go.
Uh-huh.
I'd have been like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. We've given you what you need. I'm out.
Just gonna you know that meme where like they put up a peace sign and they just start fading?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just start fading away.
I'm gonna
That's gonna be me.
Up out of here.
I'm just gonna use my magical meme powers and get out of here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and go.
Also, Brian was taking a sociology class in high school and was trying to use what he learned to talk the man down and stuff like that. Brian and the Zodiac talked for a while too.
Yeah.
The man took out 2.5 to 3 foot lengths of clothesline. The knife he had in Brian's face was about 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch wide and 11 to 12 inches long. Maybe a bagonet or bread knife?
Bread knife?
Bubba? You know knives. How do I say that? Bagonet? Bagonet?
Bagnet. Like a knife that's on top of a car or on top of a gun.
I don't know. My husband's coming to help me. Bagonet.
Beignet.
Are you sure it's not supposed to be? The only thing I can think of is bayonet.
Yeah, the one
Bayonet?
that's the knife that
But
goes
I
on
don't think
top
that's
of,
right.
or the gun, right?
I think so.
A bayonet, it goes on the front of a rifle.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay, the front of a rifle.
That
yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I
That's
guess
what I
it's
thought
just...
you were saying, but that's kind of awkward for him to use that.
But I don't understand how they would confuse a bayonet with a bread knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True
Yeah,
story.
that's true.
Like, we have a bread knife in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's two
We
different.
don't have a bayonet in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
got kitchen. We got pretty.
We ain't
some
got no
pretty long
old school
kitchen,
rifles
so we can
that
get some duct
have
tape and
not,
go ahead and
knives
there's
on.
bayonets. I mean, shit.
Well, the knife wasn't on the gun. It was in his hand. He just had it.
I mean, a bayonet is just a knife until it's on the gun.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
The fact that he took it
that's how
off
that works. I could be
doesn't make
wrong.
much sense.
Yeah. It had a hardwood handle decorated with 2 brass rivets, and white surgical cotton tape 1 inch wide was wrapped around the handle, and the whole knife was fitted into a sheath of wood. Also, the blade was sharpened on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yet again, how is that a bread knife?
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, I think it's exactly what your husband said.
Bread knives
Wasn't it
usually aren't sharpened on both sides unless I
bag
just
nets are so you
keep
can
buying.
switch them around.
Yeah.
When one side is
Am I
switched.
buying the wrong bread knives?
Is there a handle
Like-
in the middle?
Yeah. Am I grabbing the wrong?
Where do I hold on at?
If I yawn one more time, I think I'm gonna hurt myself. Well, I think that's supposed to be a Y. I think I just
Oh,
I think what happened was I was writing too fast and I skipped the Y, so I just had to throw it in there real quick.
that makes sense. I've been saying this whole time you can't read your
Yeah. Yeah.
bayonet.
Yeah.
Again, still don't know how you can use a bayonet with a bread knife.
Okay, anyways. The man told them to lie on the ground and that he would have to tie them up. Why would you... Okay, so the man told Cecilia to tie Brian up, which,
Mhm.
by the way, she tied him up really loose.
Yeah.
If I was in that situation, I think I would tie their hands tight, but I would have one strand out to where they could just pull it, you know,
Yeah.
when he was least suspecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, keeping it loose is smart too. It's very smart.
Yeah.
But when the man was tying up Cecilia, he noticed that Brian's restraints were loose and went back and retied them
Yep.
so much tighter. Like really, really tight.
And they say that Brian still thought that he believed they were still being robbed until the Zodiac killer pulled his knife.
Yep. Brian asked Cecilia if she was comfortable with him trying to get the gun and the knife away from the dude. And Cecilia seemed pretty nervous by it, so Brian ended up not doing it. And that was before they got tied up.
Yeah.
Obviously.
What a gentleman, but like still, you never know what would have happened if he was able to access that gun and get it away from him. Or it could have went even, worse.
Brian also said that he thought that there was no ammunition in the gun. He thought it was just a bluff.
Yeah.
But then he was like, I didn't want to find out, though.
Don't want to find out the hard way.
Didn't want to find out if he was bluffing or not. Yeah.
Yep.
In the book, it also says when the man touched Cecilia, his hands started to shake.
Mm-hmm.
Da, da, da. Yeah, the man talked in such a calm voice that the couple never thought he would try to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
The strange man and Brian talked a lot throughout this ordeal. The man then told them he would have to stab them. Brian was the first to get stabbed because Brian asked
to be stabbed. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, please stab me first. Which, that's nice.
Yeah.
You know. But he's gonna end up stabbing her anyways. You're tied up, dude.
Mm-hmm. He's coming for both of you.
So now she just has to watch.
Yeah, which is even more, horrifying.
But he would also have to watch while she got stabbed. So either way, it's bad.
Terrifying, yeah.
Well, I don't know, because she ended up passing out.
Yeah.
So she might not have had to watch him get stabbed.
If somebody was stabbing me, I would hope to pass out. Please.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see anything.
I would too. I'd be like, oh, knock me out.
I'm not built for this.
Okay, I have a quote from Brian here from one of his interviews with Robert Graysmith.
Nice.
The author of the Zodiac book.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, put yourself in my shoes. Someone hits you in the back. What's the first thing you do? You stiffen. You just wait for it to stop. There's not a hell of a lot you can do. You're in the most vulnerable position you can be in. For me, I was just waiting for it to stop. She's watching all this stuff coming down and screaming for him to stop and all this. She turns to her side, so by the time he comes to her, she knows precisely what's going to happen. And what's the reaction? Try to get away. Try to move out of the way. When he hit her, he broke ribs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
After he was done, getting all stabby with Brian,
mm-hmm.
he moved over and got all stabby with Cecilia.
He got more stabby with her.
Oh, a lot stabby with her.
Yeah, you think he'd been a little tired after stabbing Brian 6 times, but he got more stabby with her.
Yeah. As the man was stabbing Cecilia was rolling around a lot. Like, she would not stop moving. So he pretty much stabbed her everywhere.
Yeah. That's crazy.
He stabbed her in the chest, and once into each breast, once in the groin area, and once into the abdomen. And this was while she was on her back. So this doesn't include the stab wounds like anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then once the man was done with Cecilia, he walked back to the cars and would end up riding something onto Brian's car, which we'll get to in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Cecilia would gain consciousness because, as I said, she ended up passing out.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? Especially when you hear how many times she got stabbed.
Yeah.
Okay. The couple began yelling for help. Brian then moved to Cecilia and started to chew through the blood-filled clothesline. this dude was literally spitting out blood because there was so much.
That's crazy.
I got lost again.
Well, I know some park rangers showed up and were trying to help until the ambulance arrived.
Yeah. When Cecilia finally had her hands free, she untied Brian's hands. Brian's plan was to crawl for help, but he lost too much blood and couldn't move. A Chinese fisherman from San Francisco and his son in a small boat on the lake heard moans coming from the tip of the peninsula, and they rowed for a closer look. The man and his son rushed to get help and informed a ranger of the sight they saw. Also, the fisherman and his son never, went to the couple. They literally, as soon as they saw them, started rowing away.
Okay.
And so when Brian saw that, he was like, oh, well,
yeah,
we're screwed.
Yeah, they're not going to help.
That was his reaction. Also, the fisherman didn't realize how bad it actually was. When he was talking to the rangers, he was like, oh, I think somebody hurt their foot or something.
Oh, so they thought it was just somebody injured.
Yeah. Rangers Dennis Land and Sergeant William White were 3 miles away when they got the call. And when they got there, they wrapped both victims in blankets until the ambulance could get there.
Mm-hmm.
Cecilia was fading in and out of consciousness the whole time. And she was in so much pain that she kept begging the rangers, to pretty much put her out of her misery.
Mm.
She was in so much pain.
Yeah, she was stabbed 10 times. I can't even imagine what that would feel like, especially the areas that he...
She was stabbed a total of 24 times.
Oh, was it 24?
Yeah. She was only stabbed, I think, 10 times in the back before she started rolling around. Okay. Trying to move. Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I have that Brian was stabbed 6 times and he stabbed her 10 times.
Yeah, no, he stabbed her 24 times.
It sounds personal. I mean, who stabs somebody that many times if it's not somewhat personal?
Stabbings are personal in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, the hospital was almost an hour away, so they had to wait for the ambulance for an hour to get there, and then an hour back to the hospital.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Did you read about how earlier that day people were reporting a suspicious man that had been seen around Lake Berryessa? There was a Dennis and his son that was out there, and
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was.
It was almost like
interesting. It was like he was stalking for prey.
Yeah, he was looking for the perfect couple or the perfect people to do this to.
Yeah. Another big boy yawn. Oh my god. When the victims finally got to the hospital, Cecilia was in surgery for most of the night. And at 7:40 p.m., 1 hour and 10 minutes after the attack, the phone rang at Napa PD. I want to report a murder. No, a double murder. They are 2 miles north of park headquarters. They were in a white Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. I'm the one that did it. The strange man left the phone hanging.
Mm-hmm. So the
police tracked the call. Huh?
I said so they could trace it back to where it was at. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. The police tracked the call. Mm-hmm. And the phone was 4.5 blocks from the police station and exactly 27 miles from the scene of the attack.
Yeah.
So I had to fucking yawn again. I'm gonna have to cut all those yawns out. Oh my god.
It's been a long day.
They were able to get a good palm print from the phone, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice. When Detective Sergeant Kenneth Narlow, came to the scene, he saw what the strange man wrote on Brian's vehicle. Vallejo, 12/20/68, 7/4/69. September 27th, 69, 6:30. By knife. Like the little bragging asshole he is.
Mm-hmm. He wrote it in felt pen.
He had to make sure that they knew he was the one who did it. He was like, I'm not going to let anybody else take credit
for
my work.
My stuff. Yeah, he made it very specific. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And,
like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah. Stop trying to show off for your.
We get you have mommy issues. But
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm thinking.
Go
I'm
home.
feeling that vibe for sure. Mommy issues.
Drink a beer. Play a first shooter game.
Yeah.
Do they even have first shooter games then? Yeah.
Go fishing. Just relax.
Yeah.
You don't have to hurt people.
Oh, yeah. First person shooter. Whatever.
What would they say? Hurt people.
I swear I play video games. I swear I play video games. Just. Oh, today was a rough one.
I hear that.
The crime lab technicians discovered I can't read my handwriting. Discovered tire tracks at the scene. They made plaster casts, and there were 2 different sized tires on the front. Very worn out. So we were kind of assuming maybe a spare tire, because I don't know why.
Why else there would be
I don't,
2 different sized tires? I'm thinking you're right.
Oh my god, another fucking yawn. They also found footprints with the size being 10.5.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the footprints were kind of deep into the ground, and I can't remember how much the officer weighed that they had. I think he was 220 or something like that.
Yeah, they said it resembled, or for it to be sunken as it was, to be somewhat of a heavy set person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had an officer there, and they were like, "Hey, try to make a print like that,
Let's see how far it sinks." Yeah.
Yeah, and his foot went deeper into it, I believe.
That makes sense.
And so they were like, oh, okay, well, he's got to be at least a little bit lighter than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Type thing. So that's how they figured that out. Monday, September 29th, 1969, Cecilia would sadly pass away due to the stab wounds. And Brian had been put under close guard immediately because you're not, he's a witness.
He might, yeah. You know what he looks like, and he might be coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely if you survived.
Okay, now we're going to get into what the Zodiac crimes have in common so far. The victims were young students and couples. The attacks all occurred on weekends, 2 near holidays. The murders were at dusk or night. Robbery or sexual molestation was not a motive. A different weapon was used each time. The killer had a compulsion to brag about the murder by phone or letter. Zodiac killed in remote lovers' lanes, and the slayings all occurred around and in cars. And the victims were always near water.
Yeah. Interesting.
I would also like to point out that this man is a lot more aggressive with the women than he is with the men in these killings.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot. He shot Betty 5 times and only shot David once.
Mm-hmm.
And Darlene got shot a lot more than Mike did.
Yeah.
And then him stabbing the shit out of Cecilia.
Yeah. I think there's
And-
definitely some women issues, whether it be mommy issues
Yeah.
or, but there's definitely,
I
but
mean-
there's still a couple element too, which is kind of interesting. Like he wants the man to
Yeah.
be there as well.
Yeah.
Could be mommy, daddy issues.
I don't know. Maybe he wants to prove to the man that they can't protect their women, I guess. I don't really...
That, yeah, there's a
I don't know.
definite outlook of that. 'Cause-
But yeah, so that is the case of Brian and Cecilia. Oh, and if y'all couldn't guess, Brian survives.
Yes. And he provides a description. So that'll be
Yes,
interesting.
he does. Which we will get into in part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time for our boy Paulie boy. Paulie Stein.
Uh-huh.
This one was in October,
Oh.
and it's in the same year.
Yeah. A
So
lot of his killings
so
were
he
pretty close.
attacked 3 times within the same year. But that first murder, it seemed like he took a pretty long break,
Yeah, he did. And I'm wondering why.
which is weird. Maybe he thought he was getting closer to getting caught, so he went on like a spree.
Yeah, he kind of, yeah. And
And then when he finally realized, and then you'll see why when I start talking about the Paul Lee Stein case, but he got a little cocky, I think.
Mm-hmm. He was kind of feeling himself. And he realized he needed to pull back or he was going to get
Mhm.
caught.
Yep. Okay. Saturday, October 11th, 1969, Paul Lee Stein, age 29, was a journalist who was a cab driver to make some extra money. He picked up a man at around 9:40 p.m. The man gave him a destination in Presidio Heights. When the taxi arrived... Wait, what?
But yeah, when the taxi
Yes.
arrived at Washington
Okay.
and Maple Streets, he has to be
Yes.
driven another block.
Yeah. The killer asked to be driven another block to Washington and Cherry Street. He was shot once in the head at point blank range. The weapon was a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, not the same 9mm used in Farron murder. There were 3 witnesses from a house on the southeast corner of the intersection. Stein's cab was hailed at Mason and Geary Streets.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you say that. The strange man ended up changing his destination, which I already, yeah. Stein's wallet and keys were taken, and a large portion of his shirt was carefully torn off. Which, now you want to rob?
Yeah.
Like, bitch, what? Make up your fucking mind, dude.
Yeah, what is the purpose?
Like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just gonna take a piece of the poor man's shirt? Like, you couldn't have taken anything else as a souvenir. It had to be a piece of his shirt.
Yeah. I guess.
Well, I think he ended up using that piece of shirt to wipe down the cab
Yeah, he wiped the vehicle
from, like,
after
blood
he
and stuff
rifled
like
through
that.
it.
Yeah.
But he still left 2 partial fingerprints from his right hand. So I guess he didn't do a good
bloody
job.
fingerprints, potentially of the suspect, were recovered from the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
According to a police document, a pair of men's size 7 black leather gloves was also found. The 3 witnesses watched the suspect from approximately 60 feet away as he wiped down the cab with a cloth after killing Stein. They called the police and described the strange man, which we will get to in part 3.
Yeah.
They last saw him casually walking north on Cherry Street. Crazy enough, who knows how, the police dispatcher mistakenly described the suspect as being a black male adult.
Yep. Hence why they were so close, but they didn't realize. They passed right by him and didn't even realize it was the person they were looking for. Because they described him wrong.
Didn't even stop.
Nope.
Didn't even stop him to ask him questions or nothing.
Yep.
Because they thought they were looking for a black man.
Yep. Crazy.
Like, I understand mistakes happen, but dude, seriously?
No, because once we get to the description of him, he's clearly not. And it doesn't look like a black man at all.
How in the hell do you fuck that up?
Yeah.
And then later, when the right description of him was let out, the police that were walking by... Actually, hold on. I have their names here. Because of this, patrol officers Donald Folk? I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my notes don't say what their names were, but it just said that they had stopped by and asked him if he had seen anything suspicious. And the man confirmed he had pulled along, had seen somebody waving a gun and heading east. So officers hurried east.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. I heard that, what I read was that the cops didn't even stop to ask him anything at all.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what it says on the Wikipedia that I got. And it said that the officers hurried away. The Zodiac later claimed he was the witness that spoke to the 2 officers when the police arrived at the scene. Stein was declared dead. San Francisco PD canvassed the area, including Presidio. The Zodiac had probably fled the area in car by then.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Donald Folk and Eric Zelms, minutes later, observed a white man walking east on Jackson Street. He was never stopped and questioned. The officers did get a good look at the man, though. When the correct description of the suspect was finally broadcast, the officers realized they might have come across the man. A search was made in the area they saw the man, but they didn't find anyone that resembled him. The man got away because of a wrong description.
Yep.
This lucky ass motherfucker.
Yep. Like you said, it gets crazy after that. He gets more cocky about it.
Yep. The Stein murder was initially thought to be a routine cabbie killing, a robbery gone bad. However, on October 13th, 1969, the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter from Zodiac containing a portion of a bloody shirt and taking credit for the killing.
Yeah.
Inspectors Dave Toschi and Bill Armstrong, who were assigned the case, were shocked to realize the shirt belonged to Stein.
Yeah.
The 3 witnesses gave the best description they could. That motherfucker got away.
And it's almost like he wanted to get caught. Like he was so boasty about the things he did.
And he was so bold with Stein. Like, it's crazy how bold he was about Stein.
Yep.
I don't know.
When he mailed that piece of the shirt to San Francisco PD and stuff like that, he was making threats that he was going to shoot a tire of a school bus or kill children.
Oh yeah,
as
he
they
said he was
exit it.
gonna like bomb places and shit like that if they
Yeah.
didn't put this in the newspaper.
Yeah,
or
he
some shit.
definitely wanted everyone to know what he was doing.
Oh yeah, he liked it.
Mm-hmm.
He liked the attention. You little fucking attention whore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I find that crazy. Both of these cases were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the first two cases were pretty crazy too. I think Darlene's case was honestly the most interesting to me because of her quote unquote relationship with the killer or possible relationship.
Yeah, there
with
was
the killer.
it definitely gave vibes that there was something else going on.
Yeah, and it was strange.
Mm-hmm.
When we in part 3 of the Zodiac, when we start talking about like the description of the Zodiac and stuff like that, I'm gonna put a picture of the sketch of the Zodiac up, and I'm also gonna put that picture of Darlene with that strange man right next to it, so y'all can see the side by side.
For sure, because it definitely looks similar.
Yeah. And like, how would they not know who that is, dude? Come on.
Yeah. There's something
It's
going
gotta
on.
be somebody.
It's small town stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're too connected, and it's happening in too much in one area. And that's just like the next story that we're about to do in Florida. Like it's all down I-75. Like they don't travel too far when they're doing stuff like that. They have to have a safe spot that they go to, so they can't, go out too far.
She says the next episode we're about to do, but that episode's technically going to come out before this one. But,
yeah. True. It makes
We're
sense.
recording episode 3 a little early. I got a little head start on my notes.
We got to keep the things going. Keep the listeners interested.
Do you listeners want to hear a story about what happened today?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. What happened today?
Bubba, do you want to tell the story of what happened today?
Right. Real time.
I mean, you did it.
Real life happening
today. My husband broke one of our windows in the bedroom. What? Trying to kill a wasp.
Real life
problems. And so now we have a broken window.
And it's cold outside.
Yeah. But at least we're on the second floor.
Yeah. Sure.
So.
Yeah.
And that window isn't one of our roof windows, so it doesn't lead out to the roof.
Good. It's still...
Somebody would have to do some acrobatics.
It can make it a little chilly, though. I'm sure.
To get up in that bitch. Oh, our room gets so hot. I don't mind.
Oh, so no, yes. This is a plan. We should have broke the window a long time ago. Now it's easy breezy.
I'm going to start smashing all my windows out now.
In your bedroom for sure.
Just start smashing the windows. Oh, shit.
I get that.
Yeah, no. I don't know why every time it starts getting a little warm out, wasps start finding their way into our apartment. And it's only our apartment. None of my neighbors have the same problem. I've talked to them about it. I've asked them about it.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Only our fucking apartment.
There's got to be something going on inside of the, like, where the gutters are or something. There's got to be a mess. Right by there, because that's why they're just finding their way in.
Another thing, I didn't want to spoil it, but I think I'm gonna spoil it anyway.
Okay.
When I am done doing all the Zodiac stuff, my next case that I picked out is Lisa McVeigh. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be
start
good.
research on that case after Zodiac.
Absolutely. That sounds
And I'm
interesting.
almost done with my Zodiac notes.
Good.
I'm almost completely done with them.
It's an interesting
just-
case. So
Yeah.
definitely
It
should be
just takes so
talked about.
long to write, but I gather notes a lot better when I'm writing them than when I'm typing them. Because when I'm typing them, I feel like I have to constantly like look back, and
Yeah,
it's
no, I
just-
have to handwrite all mine.
it's a
It
lot.
sticks better, and then like I can highlight stuff and I highlight certain things that are related to other things, so I can go back and forth in certain colors. Like
Yeah.
this is in pink, so if I see pink, then I look up here and I see other stuff that might, see how it's somewhat connected.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always a connection.
I know this is gonna come out after the Eileen case, but I am so excited to do that episode. I'm so excited.
She's a bitch after my own heart. I tell you what, I've admired her for years, so I definitely
Shit, with the
had
life she lived.
Yeah,
The life
yeah, poor
she
girl.
lived.
Like I
I'm
get
surprised she didn't start killing sooner.
it. Yeah.
Shit.
Exactly.
I would have started killing at that age of 13.
It just goes on and
Fuck
on
y'all.
and on, the trauma, and I'm just fascinated how her. Well, I'm a pediatric psych nurse, so the mind is what my life and my study is about. So when I see how it tries to block trauma or how it handles trauma, it is so interesting to me. So and you get it, you totally get it. I think it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah.
Or
too.
two. We'll see.
Yeah. I used to go to college for psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped before I even got any psychology classes.
The mind is a tricky thing, and what it does to
Yeah.
protect your body is unbelievable, as far as even just developing different personalities or trauma responses and everything. It's pretty crazy.
It's very fascinating.
Yeah, how the body and the mind try to protect yourself, no matter what you went through. It's resilient. So
yeah. I think I am gonna do notes on like a little maybe a haunted house here soon, or like haunted places or something like that.
okay, definitely.
I think I'll do notes on that soon.
Well, we
we
definitely have the two places I thought about if we're gonna do stuff like that too is we have Coffer Bridge that's here, and then you guys have one by you.
Do we really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Well, I mean, it makes sense.
Ask your dad, but yeah, there's one here that where all kinds of supernatural stuff happens, and then there's one that we used to go to when I stayed in Northern Virginia, and
Wow.
yeah, so it would be might be cool because it's from where I live now and where you live. Growing up,
Yeah.
they're definitely two hot spots. So, or definitely we'll put them on the list.
Mm-hmm. I think I might do that before Lisa McVeigh, but I think it'll be kind of like a short episode, so we could take like a little break from the murder stuff and do some like spooky stuff.
Yeah, no, that would be totally cool.
And then hop back into the
murder stuff.
Hop back into the stabby and the pew pews.
Yeah. No, I think that would be good. Definitely.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
That is the end of part 2 of the Zodiac. I picked a pretty big serial killer for my first one.
But a very good one. Like,
yeah.
I think it was interesting. So definitely good choice.
The main reason why I picked it is because I already had a book on it.
See? Well, so you were already interested. That's where you start,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, gets you into true crime and stuff like that. You start reading other stories because you're like, ooh, that was pretty good. Yep.
Okay. I I don't know where you can find our email, but it is somewhere on the YouTube page. Actually, hold on. I always forget the email because I wanted to make it something different, but somebody else already had it, so I had to
Change it up.
change it. Now I can never remember what I changed it to. Hold on. I got this. Okay, 100 Acre Podcast at yahoo.com.
Perfect.
I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. So, you know, if you want to email any little stories of your own,
Yeah,
go
let
for
us
it.
know some topics, and we'll definitely pick them up. And
Yeah, if you have any suggestions for cases or anything like that, we will be more than excited to get
explore that for sure.
Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
I have a little squishy toy. And I think Dwyer bit it.
Oh no.
And I
It's
think the
leaking.
stuff's coming out of it. Fucking cat. It's all over my hands now.
Uh-huh.
Ugh. Okay, well,
I'm
gonna end this so I can go wash my hands off. God damn it.
Sweetie.
Well, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll talk to y'all next time.
See you next time.